Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures That Outperform. I'm here today with my amazing co host, Terry Mays, certified culture engineer. I'm Frank Wander, the founder of People Productive, and we're here today to cover really, I guess this is episode 11 or 12, Terry, in the series on really how to lead from anywhere. We are giving you in each one of these episodes a set of norms that you can actually roll out and help to drive better behaviors amongst the remote team. You want to create a really strong team amongst remote workers. As a leader, it's your job to make everybody gel together, to get the work done, to create a high vibe, spirited environment so people love coming in. And all of what we're covering will help you actually achieve that. And so when we talk about we're responsible for us, let's go through some of the norms. One of them is candor. I think it's easy for people to hide behind their screens when they're working remotely. And if you're a leader, you've got to encourage people to speak up, say it, don't save it. Candor really matters. People have tons of good ideas. What people think, what they observe, kind of the suggestions they have, they matter because they may have the big answer. And a lot of times people are afraid to speak up. And I think in a remote work environment, you see even more of that because people are hiding behind their screen. And so as a leader, you've got to draw them out. And that's why having a really good, memorable norm like say it, don't save it works. It clicks. And you can use that in the meetings. Hey, say it, don't save it. And then thank people who actually speak up and contribute to the conversations that you're having about whatever you're working on. This is important.
Yeah. And you want to make sure as a leader, you're making people feel comfortable enough to say it, right? So once they start talking, don't cut them off. Don't make them feel like their idea doesn't make sense or that's dumb or whatever. You want to make sure you make that person feel comfortable speaking in the group so that they build that rapport with everybody and they begin to trust and respect each other and respect each other's ideas, even if it may not be the best idea. At least give that person the room to express themselves and feel like they're a part of the team.
And draw them out. When you notice that maybe somebody's a little too introverted and they're not joining in, invite them to share what they're thinking. Say, hey, what are you thinking? What do you think about the conversation? Any thoughts? Draw them out, thank them for contributing, and make that a regular part of the routine. Because once people know that ultimately everybody's expected to speak up and contribute something, they're more likely to do it on their own because they can't hide. And so those are techniques and tactics that you've got to use. And then, Tara, what do you want to cover on accountability? This is just so important.
Yeah, it's hugely important. We have to do what we say. We have to keep our word. We have to follow through on whatever promises we've made and take ownership of those results. You cannot continue to point the finger at somebody else and say, oh, I didn't do my part because this person didn't do their part. You can't make excuses. You really do have to follow up on what you say you're going to do. And if there are always going to be times where you can't, right? So something is going to happen and it prevents you from doing what you said you were going to do. Take accountability and go and let the person know, hey, we're not going to be able to do it by the date that we agreed to, but we can do it by this date. Here is why. Being able to communicate just the simplest of things like that will make such a huge difference on your team and how people feel.
Great point.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah, people are they're going to feel better about the relationship that they have with you, the credibility that you're building, right? So now when you begin to let people know what's going on, if there are any roadblocks or things that'll cause you to not be able to do what you said you were going to do, when you go and talk to them, that just builds even more credibility and trust in your abilities.
As soon as like Terry says, that whatever commitment you made, you're not going to make it, you've got to give the heads up. And you've got to be ready to give the new commitment and explain why it's going to take longer. But don't come in and say, I'm not going to make it. I'll figure out, I'll get back to you when I'm going to make it. Have the story straight, don't leave people hanging and get it back immediately. Nothing drove me more crazy than somebody coming in the day before their piece of the puzzle was due. And they're like, I'm not going to make it. It's like, you're just figuring this out now?
Right.
Are you kidding? It's so
great.
And then, not just accountability of getting your own work done, but, as a group, you got to own your collective results. I thought it was interesting how AI created this bridge to nowhere. We own our collective results. Like we tried to get better images, but this one I thought was really funny. We own our collective results. I guess he's saying, look, we have to complete this bridge,
Yes.
right?
And we should mention too that all of these images have been generated by AI. So you may notice some typos or some other things that
Yeah.
just don't quite meet the mark. But this is our attempt at just trying to use AI and just see what the tools can do for us and enhance the slides that we're creating. So some of them actually leave very funny typos
Oh,
in,
yeah.
and we leave funny pictures in and funny things like this,
We could give
where,
prizes.
the
We do
bridge
leave
to
some
nowhere.
errors in. We do leave
Yeah.
errors in. We could give prizes if you point out the errors to us, because some of
Yeah.
them are funny. But this is a goofy one, I think. Anyway,
Yeah. I
but
love that placard right on the front. We own
yeah,
our collective results on this rock bridge that's going nowhere.
yeah. You've fallen short. Don't you know we own our collective results? You didn't complete the bridge. What the hell is going on here? Right?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But you've got to take responsibility for team success. Everybody. It's not just the leader's job, it's everybody's job. Pitch in, even if it's not your responsibility. If things are falling behind and you know you can help, you got to pitch in because we own our outcomes. Everybody. It's a collective success, and that really matters.
Yeah, everybody has a part to play in the success or failure of a project. You can either sit
Yeah.
back and watch it fail, or you can roll your sleeves up and see what you can do to help. And those times that I've just jumped in on projects, they weren't my projects, but I just didn't want to see it fail. People have been so appreciative of that. So make
Oh,
sure you're
yeah.
that kind of team player that jumps in, try to help as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I remember when I was running the Merrill Lynch Contact Center for retail. It was called CMA Client Services. And there was one guy that just helped everybody all the time. He knew everything. He's probably the most knowledgeable person there. People came to him. He was always available to help, and he was a great guy. And so he owned the collective success of the place. He
Yeah.
wasn't just the expert; he was actually making our results better overall. And then, you have to do the right thing. Um,
Absolutely.
and people shouldn't have to tell you what the right thing is. You should know kind of innately what the right thing to do is in different situations. You got to be honest. You got to be consistent. When it's hard, you got to speak up because trust is built one decision at a time. And
It's so
so,
true.
the reflection of the group should be we do what's right. And everybody should honor this and abide by it.
Yeah. And when you lose that trust, it's hard to rebuild it. So
Ooh,
it's better if you can just continue to build it in a positive way and have people trust you than to be on the other side of that and have to rebuild trust after it's been broken. So make sure you're operating with integrity and that people don't feel like you're hiding things from them, that you're not being completely honest, you're not being transparent. That's really a frustrating place to be on a team when you don't feel like you can trust your teammates or trust
ooh,
your leader.
terrible. Yeah, that's a nightmare. So anyway, we're here every Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Next week, we're going to go over execution, which is kind of collectively improving how you get work done. It's everybody's job to continuously help improve on the execution of the organization, your team, whatever it may be. And so we're going to talk about that and give you some good norms that you can roll out. Remember, norms regulate behavior. People don't regulate behavior. If it's about integrity, if somebody's not acting with integrity, you say, hey, what do we do around here? They got to say we do the right thing. Did you do the right thing? No. Okay, next time. And that's why it works and it's so powerful. But look, thanks for joining us. Hope you're enjoying this series because you can be the
Yes.
greatest leader from anywhere if you want to be.